So today we have a bunch of random topics. We're going to have some programming and non-programming, mostly non-programming. So yeah, I want to talk about social media first, because I assume that most of us in the class have a social media account, at least one, right? And we're posting stuff. Maybe our accounts are public as well. Even if they're private, sometimes it's friends of friends are allowed to see things. So many things that we might not expect end up becoming public. So many things are public. And that could be a problem. I don't know, it depends on your viewpoint. So I'll try to answer some of these questions today, or at least we can discuss. What are some issues with social media today, right now, that exist when we use these things, these services? And if I'm going to have these accounts, how can I have them and keep things safe in a sense? All right. So let's talk about that. There's a few fun little anecdotes from your book that I want to talk about first. So one thing that I hope we all understand is that your employers, or the people, your potential future employers, if you're about to apply for a job, they can go search your name. They can go Google your name, right? You can Google my name if you want to. And there's a bunch of different implications of that, right? First of all, if you already have a job and you're at work and you're slacking off, your computer can be totally monitored, right? This is crazy. What can happen these days? Everything, essentially. The entire, let's see. Here's my best artist rendition of a laptop. Did we know that the IT department, if they give you a laptop, they can look at your screen. They can see where your mouse is pointing. I hope we know this, right? So yeah, you can be monitored, especially on a work-owned device. So they can look at your screen. They can also track what you type with your keyboard if they really wanted to. Track all the stuff you type on your keyboard. That's a little overkill, but it is possible, technically. And just think about it. If you're slacking off, before computers were invented and your boss wasn't in the room, you're probably fine, right? But nowadays, you can be constantly monitored. Software could be monitoring you and your work output, which is kind of unfortunate, right? It's a little too futuristic. But just think of how far we've come. This kind of monitoring, that level of it at least, is not possible back in the day. So that's if you already have a job. So I don't do anything important. I don't do anything personal on my work laptop, of course. We're only doing work stuff because they can see, right? So there's that. And then if you're about to get a job, you're trying to apply for jobs, interviewers, they can Google your name and they can usually find your account because usually you match that with your real name a lot of the time, right? And if that's a public account, then they have free reign, right? They can see you. So that's the thing. And there's a bunch of more examples from the book. So here's some fun ones. So a school district, surprisingly, they ended up firing a teacher in that school district because she posted a photo on, I think it was probably Facebook, of her just drinking in a bar, probably holding a drink. So that's disgusting, right? We don't like that. That should not have even been a thing. Hopefully she sued and got her job back. But that was something that somebody did. That was a decision that they made based on your presence on the internet. Crazy. Obviously it's legal for that teacher to have drank, but maybe I don't know, it's a religious school or something, and the parents complain, and we don't want our students learning from somebody like that. I don't know, who glorifies drinking. I have no clue, but you can imagine the ways that parents could have twisted that, and that's really unfortunate, right? So we have to be careful when we have a job. And then also another fun one: a sheriff of some county, I guess, fired a deputy sheriff, which is the person right below the sheriff, for liking a Facebook campaign page of the person who's trying to beat the sheriff, the current sheriff in the coming elections, because apparently sheriffs get elected. So that's pretty funny, right? I'd probably that just kind of proves that person didn't like the sheriff, I guess. So is that grounds to fire them? I don't know, but it's free speech, right? But at the same time, that's obviously a shot at that sheriff. So yeah, we have to be careful about these things more than we think. The things that you like, even. people can see that. They can look into it. So, yeah, something to worry about. Another thing to worry about, I guess. Does that make sense? Have we considered these things as we apply for jobs before? Hopefully we are, in the future at least. Yeah, let's talk about, I don't know, there's a lot of old people on Facebook, so I can pick on Facebook, but you can imagine this is true of like Instagram and other things too nowadays. But back in the day, like this still happens all the time if you're friends with like an older person on Facebook. Like they, every couple years or so, like somebody posts something like this and it's a little cringy, but they're like, Facebook does not have my permission to share my photos or messages or use them for AI purposes or whatever. And this does nothing at all. You posting that message on Facebook, on Instagram, it means absolutely nothing because you gave permission for Facebook to mine all of your data just by using Facebook or Instagram, which Facebook owns, right? So that's because you agreed to those terms of service, right? Terms of service that nobody ever reads. Terms of service allow this. That's why Facebook lets you give, it saves your photos for free. It saves your Instagram pictures for free. So they can use those to make money somehow, all right? So the terms of service totally allowed these things, which I guess is unfortunate. But yeah, maybe we should be reading these. So yeah, a lot of things that we don't think are being used for other purposes kind of are. Maybe we should look at the nitty-gritty details. Another fun one, near and dear to my heart, because I like to learn languages. You may have noticed that my computer's in Spanish, for example. I like to go on Duolingo and just like learn some random language. But Duolingo back in the day, they had the idea of not using ads, and they were supposed to make money like this through people translating things. But then, unfortunately, they discovered that they could make more money using ads. But this was a cool idea. So the idea for Duolingo back in the day, technically it's social media, right? There's ways other than like using your data to make money. Like this is what they tried, which is kind of cool. It's a really unique idea. What they did is they gave people who were learning a language like little snippets of like articles, and what the like newspaper companies would do, like in a different language, they would pay Duolingo to translate their articles into English, let's say, or into a different language. And so Duolingo would give a bunch of language learners the same few sentences in, let's say, Spanish. And if enough learners agreed on the same translation for those sentences, then they used that and they gave it back to the person who was asking for the translation, which is kind of cool. That's one way to make money without having to like steal data from people. Like getting them to like, maybe they all agreed that this was the best translation of all these options for this particular sentence, and they included that in the final one that somebody paid them for, which is kind of cool. I like that. I like that idea a lot. But sadly, they, like most of the rest of the internet, they learned that this does not make them enough money. So they started making pro Duolingo and also having ads all over the place, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it doesn't just have to be stealing your data like Facebook land. That's the alternative. If only we could stay like that. But yeah, that's a good segue. So ads are everywhere, and we should talk about that. So that's a way that people make money, right? They show ads on the internet, or they sell ads. Google, for example, when you search for something on Google, right, at the top it usually shows sponsored results. Have we seen that before? It says sponsored next to these links at the very top of the page for what you're searching for. And that's because people paid to have their links at the top of the page. Maybe that's not what you were really looking for, but like that, somebody paid for you to see that with your eyes first. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about Google, because if you look at the data, if you look at the numbers, Google is not a search company. They are not here to give you information that you're asking for, even though that's what we use Google for, right? Google is an ad company. If you look at the money, they are selling ads that go at the top of your page, all right? And we should think about them that way, all right? Because that's their motivation, all right? Most of their money comes from selling advertisements, people paying to see, like, have their links up top so that you hopefully click on them, right? So they sell clicks, essentially. And so if Google, now we know they're an ad company, they want to make as much money as humanly possible because they're publicly traded, they want to like have good quarter revenue reports or whatever, people care about those things, then that means they want to sell a bunch of ads and get a bunch of people to click on those ads because they make money not by showing them to you really, it's really you clicking on them, okay? And so what does that mean for you, the user of Google? You are essentially the product at that point, right? So what does that mean for you? Well, one thing that I can think of is like you might end up like you're trusting Google to give you an answer, right? You might end up seeing a worse answer because of this idea, because of the way they make money. So you might end up seeing worse results at the top of your page, of your search page. Which hopefully makes sense, yeah? It's weird, though. It's weird to think about. There are other companies that have different revenue streams, like Apple. Think about Apple, for example. Like, what do they do? How do they make their money? Should I trust them? Right? I don't really trust Google too much because of this idea. But Apple, maybe we trust them a little bit more because they make their money by selling hardware, don't they? They make Macs, they make iPhones, among other things, iPads and stuff. So they have more of an incentive, right, to sell you nice hardware with good software that's not really tracking you. They care more about your privacy, and it makes sense, right? It makes sense when you follow the money. So yeah, when in doubt, do that. Follow the money, and maybe we'll trust Google less and Apple more. I don't know, but that's kind of the goal. And maybe I'm biased, and you should learn to see through that and yell at me when you notice. So any questions about that? Have we noticed that ourselves before? It is wild to think about, but this is capitalism, right? So everybody's trying to make money. Follow it, all right? So the moral of this story is that when you're using a free service like social media, you're searching on Google, if it is free for you to use, then you are the thing being sold, right? They're making money still somehow from you, all right? So you are the product at that point. Like your personal information, the stuff that you put on your Instagram account or your Facebook account, all of the things you've ever searched on Google, it's being stored somewhere, right? It's being captured and sold for some purpose. Somebody wants to buy that for some reason, right? So all of those things, you're giving this ability to those people whose websites you're using because of that terms of service, right? That big long document that nobody ever reads, right? If only there was a way to get information from those terms of service without actually reading them. And so some very nice people have made a website for us to use, and I'd like you all to go there, please. It's called tosdr.org. It's a play, it's like a pun on that TLDR, if you've seen that on the internet before, which is short for too long didn't read. This kind of stands for terms of service didn't read.org. It's a very nice organization that is here to help us. So please go to this website, please, tosdr.org on your browser, and we'll talk about it. So this is a wonderful, wonderful website. Yeah, that's a problem. So I'm going to have you guys look at some of these in just a second. Yeah, so you'll have fun with that. So, okay. This is a wonderful, wonderful website. It has some, you can search for a lot of different things somewhere, potentially. I don't remember where. But search for a service here if you want. But it's got some name brand services that we all like to use up top. And it gives them grades. E is the lowest grade. Facebook has a low grade. Amazon has a low grade. Reddit has a low grade. Wikipedia, grade B. Ooh, nice. And so if you click on some of these, I'll click somewhere. I don't know, Spotify. Even Apple's grade D, I don't know. But if you click on one of these, it'll show you more information, like some red ideas, oh no, these things are bad. Some yellow things, which are maybe maybe good, maybe bad, depending. And they also have some green things, some nice things that they do well. And then just some gray things that neither good nor bad, just weird things that they're stating in those terms that you're kind of agreeing to. Okay, so that's for Spotify, for example. Waive your moral rights. We'll have to search for what that means because that's a little scary. Probably a legal term. But yeah, please flip through this page. I have a little activity for us to flip through the page with, but remember the link because it's got some fun information. All right, so here's my question for you. I'd like you to please go to this website if you aren't there already, and I'd like you to get in your little peer instruction groups, please. Just like find the people sitting next to you and say hi, and then go to that written ice page, please. And I'll stop attendance after this question, so make sure to do that. Now you can elect a leader, but what I'd like you to do is pick one of these companies on this page to evaluate and read, like click on them and like actually go there and look at things. So here's what I want you to do, right? To make it so that there's something different for each group. Please search Google. I know Google now is evil, but please search Google for like a random number between 1 and 8, and it's just going to like flip or like a roll an 8-sided coin. Like click generate, and it'll give you a random number like this one's 4, and then you'll go to that company. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's like Wikipedia, right? So I click on Wikipedia with my group, and we'll read all these things and kind of like learn the good and bad about this particular company. So does that make sense? Just like pick a number so that you can go to that numbered company, and then you'll click on that one and look more into them. And then on the written ice page for that company, please write at least 2 things that you learned about that particular service that you didn't expect to be there. Like it doesn't make sense to me, but it's there and it's secretly in there, and now we know, all right? Could be a good thing or a bad thing, doesn't matter. And I'd like you to use your critical thinking skills to explain why that thing was a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, so yeah, that's my idea. Go forth and look into one of those internet things. I'll set up, say, 5-minute timer. Good thoughts. Another minute or so. Get something in there. We'll talk about it. We can discuss it together if you guys aren't sure why it's good or bad. Please just type it out then. I'll give you one more minute because I think we're still talking about good stuff. Alright, that was my timer. Is that enough time to get something in? Press submit. Group 35, waiting on you. Take another couple seconds. It's fine. This is interesting stuff. If you guys are just hanging out and you've already looked through your thing, feel free to click on another one. Just like, what is weird about Facebook? Go for it, because they're the same people as Instagram. It all still applies. We're going to search for one you know. What is a service that I know that's on here? Canvas. Insta. Those are the Canvas people. Grade E. Ooh. Disgusting. Yeah, I mean, it's the best of all of the evil things. Still. What do you mean? On Canvas? Oh no, I understand what you mean. I don't know. I think they have an API, so apparently, I would assume there's a way to search. Yeah, you probably just have to use the API somehow. Yeah, or something that's A-rated. Exactly. Ratings. Yeah, can we sort? That would be nice. But no, I don't see one. You'd have to learn the API then. We'll just have to export every single rating they've ever done. I'm sure there's something. Yeah. Download extensions. What does this mean? Oh no, it's just like browser extensions. Something with grade. Well, I don't know what start page is, but that's grade A at least. Weird. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But let's see this together. So yeah, good thoughts. Let's see what we're thinking, and then we'll discuss. So hopefully, this is a useful website, and we'll come back to now. But let's see, group 35. What did you guys have? Which you guys? YouTube. All right, YouTube. What are they doing weird? Reduction of legal period for cause of action. So when they mess up, you only get like a certain number of days to tell them that they messed up.
So like if they commit a wrong,
Yeah.
you have 1 year from the doing of that wrong to file legal action against them. And if you file, 366 days after, your claim is.
I see that that's a huge issue. Wow. Okay, that's a problem.
It can take that long to spell like get lawyers.
Exactly. Get all the information necessary to have a case.
Especially if they like stonewall you won't get information.
And that sounds like that's probably what's going to happen. Requests for data. Oh, okay, the data will be ready in a year. Oh, that's horrible. But yeah, we love capitalism. So, all right, the service reserves the right to disclose your personal information without notifying you. Which makes sense, right? They're selling your data. They're selling your, like, I'm posting this lecture on YouTube, for example. They're selling my, like, whatever I write, whatever I type, whatever I say, like they're automatically captioning it, right? And that data is probably being used by somebody. Which also makes sense. Yeah. Bad if, I like your explanations as well. Something happens without you noticing. Bad because like you're not sure who's getting that. Could be a bad person, could be a good person, but hopefully it's law enforcement or something normal. So yeah, very nice. Thank you, group number 35. So group number 36, which one do you guys have? Quora? I haven't really used Quora too much. It's like whenever there's not like a normal answer somewhere else on the internet, like I click the Quora link and it doesn't really give me good answers most of the time. But I guess it's a popular website that people use. Okay, what's bad about it? So they store your data while you're not using the service. What does that even mean? Like you search for something and they remember your searches or they remember your answers?
Basically, they have access to everything, I would assume, right?
I guess, yeah, everything that like so people can search for that later.
As long as you agree to terms of service, I would assume.
I guess that makes sense. So even if you like delete an account, like all your old answers are still on there. Is kind of what it's saying. That is disgusting. Lovely. And then okay, what was the weird thing? It gives your information away for free rather than selling it.
The pro is it doesn't sell your information,
Uh-huh.
but it does give it away to third parties.
And what is that? What is information in this case? Is it just like the question and answers that's on the website? That is.
Does not sell your personal data. I'm assuming personal data.
Okay.
Oh yeah. The service does not give away personal data. Personal data is given to third parties.
Free. I don't understand that. I'm sure there's some weird legal trick that they're doing where they give it away for free, but they're like charging a subscription for other things, including that. That is odd. But yeah, it's good to look into this kind of stuff. I hope we agree. You can? Oh, really? Maybe we can do that. Yeah, I'd love to learn more about what that meant. So let's try that. Common for you, Quora. Grade D, though. Could be worse. Could be grade E. And what was it called? For free. Is it this one for marketing purposes?
Given to third parties.
Okay, there it is. And apparently there's a whole page about this. What is this? It's not loading though. Oh, okay, so it's telling you exactly where from the thing it's taking that information. I like that. Such as payment processors, hosting providers, auditors, consultants. And also add people. So like they're shoving that in the end because that's the real bad one probably. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, this is so interesting to me. I hope you all agree. So I like that. So thank you for taking a while to discuss that. That was fun. Okay. Let's keep on tracking, and please feel free to go back to that. So it's TOSGR is short. If you forget, it's like short for like the TLDR. too long didn't read of terms of service. So yeah, there's that. We're still talking about kind of social media as well, right? What do they do wrong? So there's more to just like them stealing your data. There's like other people on the internet as well. The other people with accounts can also do bad things, right? So where were we here? So it's very easy for people to post mean things on the internet. I hope we've seen that and we agree. It's unfortunate, but it happens. Like, it's very easy for hate speech to end up on the internet. People inciting violence, people lying, that happens so often, right? All those things, they're very hard to censor because, like, there's way more, like, people who have Twitter accounts than employees of Twitter. So you can't really filter it very easily. It's very hard to, like, sort through. It's very hard to sort through all the bad stuff, right? Because it's like, most of the posts are probably fine, but the ones that are bad, maybe they're subtly bad. Very hard to sort through tons of posts to find all the bad stuff. And so there are ways to automate this process, like AI is getting better and better too, that's helpful. But still, things get through the cracks. And then some things are just allowed to be posted, like back when Donald Trump had a Twitter account. I think it's not like they got rid of him, right? Or, I don't know if he's back. He's probably still gone, right? I don't know. I'm not on Twitter. But like, he tweeted something, and like, he was a public figure, and so they let it slide and let it stay up. But obviously, this is like, I can't read this in any other way that is not inciting violence, right? And that's a huge, huge issue. Like, people are allowed to do that kind of stuff. And then a couple election cycles ago, Facebook was catching some fire for weird things that they were doing. Like, Facebook, of course, sells ads too, and so they were selling political ads. Oops, how do I make this bigger for you to see? There. They were selling political advertisements, and then they decided, okay, now we're going to ban them after some issues happened with the previous political advertisements that maybe were trying to sway people in one way rather than another. And so, like, those ones got let slide, and then they banned everybody. So that was a bit of an issue, right? So even the company themselves can have problems associated with that kind of stuff, and because maybe those ads had some like hate speech or lies in them. Very often, political things have lies in them. So, okay, that is unfortunate, but at least now we know, right? I just want you guys to become better internet citizens. That's one of the goals of this class. So we can't stop all the bad things from happening, but at least we can kind of protect ourselves or know what to look for, at least. All right? So I think that's what I wanted to say about all of that. Are there any questions or comments about any of this stuff that we talked about before I switch gears to a different topic? We love the internet. So I think I'd like to do Python now. I think it's time for that. For fun, we'll have a little bit of Python to wrap the day up with. I'd like to teach you about that thing that I just glossed over at the last second, and this will help you with your programming assignment. All right, so help you turn corners easier rather than having to figure out, like, say you wanted to draw this exact triangle, whatever this was, completely oblong, right? So very hard to draw this triangle normally. You got to pick the side lengths, you got to pick the angles. Like, these are three separate angles, right? It's hard to draw this triangle. Like, you have to do some weird trigonometric stuff after you know, like, a starting point or something. There's an easier way. It's called goto. It's a goto function in the turtle library. And if you just pick these points, you know what these points are, somehow get those, then you can just tell the turtle, like, warp to all those places, and it doesn't matter about, like, going forward and turning anymore. So that'll make your life easier. So, like, let's go ahead and open up idle. Hopefully the computers have not been restarted since you were last in the room, but if they have, you'll have to just, like, go reinstall it. Like, there's places on the internet where you can search for, like, Python turtle online or something. Like, that's a thing too. But here, let me make a new file because I want to do an example of this. We're going to use the coordinate system, right? Because deep down, just like in Scratch, like, the middle of the window was 0, 0. Whee! Middle of the window was 0, 0. And we can, like, figure out where we are. The turtle knows where he is. He's got a position, turtle.pause, turtle.position, to figure out where he is right now. And we can have him warp to places. All right, so here's kind of the goal. Let me go to the turtle library documentation, Python turtle. Click on it. And addition to all the other things we know how to do now, turtle.forward, turtle.left, turtle.right, after importing turtle, of course. There's also turtle.goto. And there's synonyms for that. You can also say turtle.setPos, turtle.setPosition. It's all the same, but I'll use goto because it's the shortest. And so that will let you change where the turtle is. It'll warp him to an x and y coordinate that you provide. Okay? So that is the goal. That is the idea. Okay, so the turtle starts his life at 0, 0. And we can prove that by saying printing out the turtle's position. And he will also respond to these like go to these coordinate commands. All right, so this is like a better way to do the program this time, an easier way. If you want the challenge, do it the original way. But like if you want to draw your initials, like here I am wanting to draw my initials L and N, kind of just plan out the points is what I'm trying to say here, and I'll show you why that's a good idea. Just like plan out all the little points where those things will be. All right, so here's this is my hint. Like imagine that the letter you're about to draw is enclosed in like a rectangle, because we know how to draw rectangles, right? Like here are all the points involved, this point, this point, this point. And like this N, you can think of it also as enclosed within a rectangle, and then all the points kind of make sense, right? This point, all the corners, that's what we care about, right? And so the goal is to use goto, turtle.goto, after you get to one of the starting points, just like plan out the coordinates, the width and height of your letter, use that to figure out the coordinates. And then what you can do is say, hey, turtle, go to here, right? Get to the start, that's like x1, y1. And then you can have them warp straight to here, like, hey, turtle, turtle.goto, x2, y2. And then go right here afterwards, x3, y3, warp to there as well. And that, like, in that order, we'll have him, like, draw that L no matter what his orientation is. It could just be always facing right if he wanted to. It's not a big deal. So that's kind of nice, right? And then for the N, it becomes easy as well. It's just like, go here, then warp here, warp here, warp here. As long as the tail is down, he will make a mark as he warps. Okay? So that's the idea. That's the beauty of it all. And so, yeah, let's get that started. I'll make a new file for us. Here. Because we never want to write our programs in the REPL. It's good for quick things like 2 + 2. But to write an actual program, we always want to go to File, New File. And you can save yours wherever you'd like. But I'm going to give you this, and so I need to give it the right folder name. So this is Lecture 15, apparently. So I'll save this blank file in a Lecture 15 folder. In a place where you will have it later. There it is. And I guess I'll call it, because I want to do my initials, and I want to show it to you using goto, so I'll say goto.py. Remember not to name it turtle.py. Never name it the same name as a library you're about to use. All right, because it'll forget where the library is. All right, so yeah, at the start at least, I want to import turtle. And then just to remind you that there is a coordinate system, we can print out the position of the turtle. Print turtle.pos. That's true for turtle. Tell me your current position right now. So get the position and print it back out, please. And I always like my turtles to look like turtles, and by default, the turtle is a little arrow. I'd rather have the turtle be a turtle. Turtle shape. A turtle as a string. So it could have been double quotes. It could have been single quotes. Either one works, as long as you're consistent. So there's my turtle. He is sitting facing right or east, and he has a position. His starting position is 0, 0. We see. All right. And so we can tell him, because he knows where he is, we can tell him to go other places. All right. So let's draw my initials again in an easier way. All right. Let's do that. So let's just plan out. Here's like, that's my hint, right? For you, imagine like there's things enclosed in a rectangle. So let's plan out my coordinates. And then I can just have the turtle quickly go to those coordinates. It'll be very simple after that. So here's my best coordinate system. That's as straight as I can get it. So here's 0, 0 right in the middle. That's where the turtle is right now. And let's say I want to draw my initials in a nice, pretty way. Let's say that this is, that's where the L starts, and it'll be somewhat centered around here. So there's goes to there, goes to there. So I just need to figure out what these coordinates should be, kind of. So let's say this is what I want my L to look like, and I want it to like start, like want it to be height 200, right? Let's just determine the box, right? Like here's the, kind of the rectangle that it sits in, and let's say it's like going to be a height 200 little thing, and then it'll be 125 last time. So, all right, what does that mean? Where like, what does that mean? The y coordinate of this should be here and here. We'll figure out how much left to go. But if we want this to like have the same length here and here, this should be positive 100 and negative 100. Do we see that? So this better be something 100. Yeah, if we wanted to share this width twice and be perfectly centered, vertically at least. And then I think negative 150 worked well before. So let's do negative 150, comma 100, and that makes this one negative 150, comma negative 100 for that coordinate. Let me draw that cleaner. And then if this is 125, that means this is going to be negative 150 plus 125 because we're moving towards positive x stuff. That'll be just negative 25, right? Negative 25, comma 100. Okay? So that's a good start for the L. And then let's say I want to draw an N over here. This won't be to scale, but it'll be the same width and height. Here's my N, something like that to there. To there, maybe. Like there is the rectangle where it will exist in. I want to draw this. It's harder than you think to draw straight lines with a tablet. To there. To there. Pretend those are straight lines. All right. And so again, we think of it as like, okay, it's being enclosed in a rectangle. Like, where is it now? Where are its coordinates? This is not to scale anymore, but let's pretend that the space between these letters, it is absolutely not to scale. Let's pretend it's just 50. All right. Because that'll let this start at like positive 25, negative 100. Looks like I forgot a negative sign here. Because then it can start here, right? Like positive 25, negative 100. And that'll keep it even. So like this is drawn way too wide, but it's like a 50 gap between them. All right, so that's perfect. And if it's perfectly balanced, like this should get 25, this should get 25 to make up the 50, and so it's going to be nice and centered, is what I'm trying to say. And so let's say that again, the width and height of this N is the same as the L, so like 125 wide, 200 high, and so now, knowing that, and knowing the starting coordinate, I can calculate every other coordinate that that N should be on. Right? So, okay, if it's 200 tall, that's going to change the Y. It's going to keep the X still 25, and that means I'm going up in the positive Y direction by 200, so negative 100 plus 200 becomes positive 100. All right, make it easy on ourselves. And then we're going to go straight to here next, right? So that is still negative 100 on the y, but it's moved over x in the positive x direction by 125, so that's going to make positive 150 on the x, right? Positive 150, still negative 100 on the y, and then up here one last time. So we got plus 125 in the x. Excuse me, thank you. So again, we had started with 25, we're moving right. So in the positive x direction, that makes 150, and then still positive 100 on that y there. Perfect. And so now we've planned out all the points. That was the hard part. There's no angle calculations that we need to do anymore, because now we can just tell the turtle, hey, here you go. So let's have that turtle draw the L first. So maybe I'll put him over here as I type that code. But do you see all that you need to do is get the turtle to the starting place, any of them. Let's say negative 150, 100. It's just like turtle dot go to negative 150, positive 100, and he will just work there. It's wonderful. So turtle dot go to. We do need to pick his tail up though as he's warping. So you see how he's just like sliding, he's just drifting because he's still facing right. We haven't changed his orientation. But it'll work. Right, so let's say turtle dot up first, then go to your starting coordinate, Mr. Turtle, and then we're ready to draw, so I'll stick your tail back down. All right, so now we're up here, negative 150, 100, I can show that to you. Run module. He's in position to start drawing that L, And then we just want to make him go there and go there. With the tail down, go from here to here, negative 150, negative 100. So that's again turtle.goto, negative 150, negative 100 this time. And now that the tail is down, you'll see that that's going to draw the L, like the first line of the L. Oops. All right, so let's close it off now. Let's go to turtle.goto whatever this one was, right? Negative 25, negative 100. And that he'll just warp there. And so it should work out all right. And there's my L. Cool. That's a little bit easier, I think, honestly. I don't know if that makes sense. Any questions about how that's working? Are we ready for the end now? The harder one? All right, so like we ended up here, this bottom right point of the L. I need to get to here, 25, negative 100, right? Because that's going to be where I'm going to draw the N. And there. So that's just another go-to. Go-to, turtle, you're sitting right here right now. Like that's your current position. We want to get to the start of the end now. Move to the start of the N. And so that's going to be turtle.goto, positive 25, negative 100. But you got to pick him up again because he's making a line unless as I keep his tail down. So let's pick him up so that he's not making a giant long L. All right, it's not cursive. So turtle dot up, get to the starting position, and then like once you're in position, then we can just go to and make marks. So now we can stick the tail back down, and we're getting there. All right, so now what next? So now that we're in position, we want to start here, and we're there. We want to go up to positive 25, 100. Positive 25, positive 100. And this is now we're actually drawing the N. Okay? So if I run that entire program, we cleared the gap, and now we're drawing the N. And now you can imagine that if I just go to the two other coordinates, we're going to get, just go to the two other coordinates, this one and this one, in that order, we're going to get the right answer. All right? So we're here so far. We still need to go to this bottom right one, which is turtle.goto what? 150, negative 100. Oops. And then the last one is positive 150, positive 100. That should finish it off. All right. So there is the whole thing. There's the full program right there. Can you still see it all? Hopefully. Put it up here as high as I can put it all. And then if I run this, you will see that all of our planning worked out very well for us. And there he goes. And he draws my nice initials. You will draw yours just as easily. All right? So, yeah, are there any questions about why this code is going to give us this output? Pretty fun, I think. So, yeah. Now that you know all the secrets, let me give you this code. You can look at it. I have one question for you to end us off with. Try this yourself. There's no real place you can post this, but just try it, play around. It's the best way to learn. But go and do what I just did and draw something else. Go to draw a house or something using something complicated using turtle.goto that would have taken forever were you using go forward and figure out the angles. Go draw a stick figure house with a door and a window or something. I don't know. But just play around and all you gotta do is plan out the points. You can do that on paper if you want. Break out the Paint app. But yeah, just help each other. I'll give you plenty of time to do this. It's the best way to learn, and then we will come back together and wrap up. All right? So go draw something cool. And let me know if you have any questions. As you're doing it. That was my timer. Keep playing around. Don't worry about it. I just want to wrap this up. So that's where I want to stop. There's still more to talk about. Plenty of social media issues. I also want to just talk about technology in general next time. But that was a good start to it all, I think. And yeah, it's just going to be the lectures for this week. No new assignments. They're all already out. So yeah, the rest of the time is yours if you'd like to keep playing around or if you'd like to ask questions.